Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode with iTrack. Big shout out to all the iTrack fam that's been tapping in, man. I got another one for you. Also, before I forget, you guys have been asking me about my humidifier that changes colors. I'm going to put a link to that down below so you can grab yours. And per usual, I got a handful of interesting and creepy TikToks for us to go ahead and evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, and join the iTrack fam. And without any further ado, let's just jump right into it.
Isn't there spiritual significance with hair?
If I want you to do an experiment one day, it don't matter how long your hair is. It don't even matter if you bald for real. Go out in public all day and just pay attention to how you feel. And the next day, wrap your hair and go out in public and pay attention to how much sharper you hear. Pay attention to how much sharper you see. Pay attention to how less connected you feel to everything around you. And pay attention to how much more connected you feel to yourself. How less often you pick up the emotions of others.
When you say wrap your hair, like kind of just wearing like a hat or like a do-rag or
A do-rag, a t-shirt, anything that can completely cover your head.
Okay.
Now, I definitely do like to wear beanies a lot. And I kind of notice a difference, but not too major. But now I'll do it and pay attention. And you do the same and let me know what conclusions you come to.
What is happening on February 2nd, 2031 in the United States of America?
In February 2031, the United States of America ceases to exist.
Alexa, what is happening February 20th, 2031 in America?
On February 20th, 2031, the United States of America was formally dissolved as a result of a process of unification that took place in the late 2020s.
Alexa, why does America end in 2031?
From Benzinga.com. The North America region includes the US and Canada, where the US is expected to acquire a major share in 2031 due to the increase in the investment by the exoskeleton manufacturing companies in the country.
Alexa's back spilling tea again, and she's getting real specific.
Through the holes in the cover, we can hear what sounds like echoing music coming up from somewhere deep within the sewer. It almost sounds like some sort of chanting.
Have you guys heard about Omar Odavi? This is him on this chair. Scientists are trying to study his blood type and the metal content in his blood because for whatever reason he attracts sea life. They don't know if it's mercury because he does have a high mercury count in his blood, but whenever he gets close to the ocean, animals are automatically attracted to him. They don't know if it's the magnetic field. They don't know what it is, but you can see here they were trying to do a control group study where there was another guy that went on the beach in this chair and nothing came, and he sits and all these sharks come, and you can see that there's some stingrays in there. It's quite incredible. I wish that, part of me wishes that I had this ability, but it does come with its downside. He has really poor circulation to his hands and his feet, so he constantly has to have them warmed and have heat pads on them. And Everest is out of the question because they would freeze off right away. But quite cool.
So I'm outside on this beautiful night looking up here at the moon with my camera, and I want to show you guys something pretty interesting. With this long zoom camera, whenever you zoom in on the moon, look at all the detail that you can see. And they tell us that the moon is 238,000 miles away. But they also say the furthest we can travel is in low Earth orbit. So tell me, if we can only travel in low Earth orbit and the moon is 238,000 miles away, tell me how we went to the moon in the first place. And tell me how we can see so much detail if it's supposedly that far away. It's because it's not that far away. It's in the firmament. You've been lied to your whole life. Wake up to the truth.
Imagine people using those cameras instead of those pixelated camera phones when they're capturing like UFO sightings and things like that. That would be awesome. We got to start working on that.
As you know, they have a ton more footage than we do. Their military, for the most part, doesn't shoot them down. And when Dr. Jonathan Reed was down there, and he was showing his teleportation device, the bracelet that came from Freddie the Gray after he hit him on the head with a branch after killing his dog Lucy. And Jaime Maussan was the one who flew him down. The president of Mexico even gave him the Secret Service to guard him because his life has been under threat. And he asked someone out there, because someone mentioned that they see aliens all the time, not UFOs, but actual aliens. And he said, why don't you film them? And the response of the Mexican was, why would I film a neighbor? That is how often they see extraterrestrials. Okay, I'm going to start to fast forward a little bit, because the most mind-blowing of that, again, that's the same thing that came into 2-3 feet in front of the guy where he put his hand up. There it is again. I know he's got tons of footage of this. You know what? I'll just go ahead and let you see it. I mean, this is such a small thing. I know other people have reported, basketball-sized spheres that go around. Skinwalker Ranch is a place that is mentioned these.
Now that's wild. He said he's seen so many of them he considers them neighbors. Any of the iTrack fam that's in Mexico right now that could confirm that, man, let me know, because that would be wild.
Into new questions about whether the government is covering up evidence of UFOs.
I had an experience.
A congressional hearing straight out of a science fiction movie.
All to hide the fact that we are not alone in the cosmos.
Lawmakers calling for more transparency around UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomenon. That's the term the government now uses instead of UFO.
What do you believe UAPs could be or are?
Strong evidence that they are non-human, higher intelligence.
An intelligence officer last year claimed the Pentagon has been hiding knowledge of alien activity for decades.
Were they, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to.
Luis Elizondo, who headed a Pentagon program investigating UAPs, now doubling down on his claims.
Has the government conducted secret UAP crash retrieval programs, yes or no?
Yes.
Were they designed to identify and reverse engineer alien craft, yes or no?
Yes.
Elizondo saying the alleged extraterrestrial presence poses a national security threat.
Let me be clear. UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe.
And saying he believes many classified materials should be shared with Congress and the public.
If this was an adversarial technology, this would be an intelligence failure eclipsing that of 9/11 by an order of magnitude. I believe that we as Americans can handle the truth. And I also believe the world deserves the truth.
The hearing lacked any direct evidence, with witnesses who have said they'll only speak about certain subjects behind closed doors. So, the result of yesterday's hearing? Well, one congresswoman says it could open the door to more hearings.
Now, the tall whites wore suits when they came at night that put out a zone of fluorescent light and radioactive particles. The suits protected them from things like if you threw a rock at them, the rock wouldn't hit them, it would get to that zone and fall to the ground. It also allowed them to levitate, especially the children, but they had to balance themselves when they did so. So the children might use the suits to levitate. The adults usually didn't levitate very much, 9 inches or so.
Oh my! Oh! Look at my rear view camera! No! I can't!
I swear I said. Look, there's another one in the cloud. Go. I can't hear you. Paris, there's fucking loads of them over there. Where?
It's very suspicious. If ever I said something,
I'm free alien. We come in peace. What the fuck? What was that? Oh my god. I just had that on camera. That was nuts, mine, wasn't it?
What the hell? What is that, Mom?
What?
Ma, you see this?
What the hell is that?
vente.
Я абсолютно одна дома, этот человек стоит.
Wake up, bitch. I did.
Holy shit. Motherfucker, goddamn.
Pennywise, are you down there? Are you...
Girls, because I was raised in a cloning lab to be the perfect woman for Hugh M. Hefner. So other than the fact that my IQ is probably a little higher than he would like, I have nothing to worry about. I was raised in a cloning lab to be the perfect woman for Hugh M. Hefner. So other than the fact that my IQ is probably a little higher than...
You know what? That does make a lot of sense. I was always curious about how Hef was able to keep such youthful women around him the older he got. You know, I know the man had some money, but still, so many women of the same exact type, really eager to just stick around. It very well could have been clones.
Mr. Elizondo, you just said something interesting. You said they don't seem to be hiding. They don't seem to be hiding. The UAP sightings are becoming increasingly brash, if you will.
Certainly there seems to be some indication that they're being provocative, meaning that they're, in some cases, literally splitting aircraft formations right down the middle. So that's an air safety issue. The question is it the frequency increasing? And really the response is it depends. Yes, it's possible that there is an increase in frequency, but it's also possible that there's heightened awareness now, and there's also more pervasiveness of technology out there that's collecting this information and that can record this information. So we're not quite sure yet if it's actually an increase in numbers of these events, or is it that we have better equipment now that to record these things, and we have a better ability, if you will, to analyze these things. The human body can withstand about 9 G-forces for a short period of time before you suffer negative biological consequences, blackouts and ultimately redouts and even death. The vehicles we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs. Comparison, our best technology, the F-16, which is one of this older platform, but one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned aircraft, made by General Dynamics, can perform about 17 or 18 G-forces before you start having structural failure, meaning that the airframe begins to disintegrate while you're flying. It's one of the reasons why my predecessor program, OSAP, was trying to collect material of unknown origin.
Was it successfully collected?
It was not. What happened is that there was an aerospace contract company that requested to divest itself of the material that was collected in the 1950s. Right. Unfortunately, that didn't actually occur.
So let's dive into that. That's the Bigelow Airspace, correct?
If I told you the Matrix was right when it said 1999 was the peak of human civilization, think about it. At the end of the 20th century, we had the perfect mix. Technology was exciting but not invasive. The internet was a tool, not a cage. And we still valued face-to-face connections. In the movie, they called it living in a dream world, maybe because we believed everything they told us. Civilization was living in a bubble, shielded from the ugly truths of the system. They also said, at some point in the early 21st century, all of mankind was united in celebration. We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI. Prophetic, isn't it? Because right now we're doing just that, celebrating AI, letting it write, create, and even think for us. But here's the scary part. The more it does, the less we do. Just like they said, the moment AI started thinking for us, it stopped being our civilization and started being theirs. And here's the kicker: evolution, Morpheus, evolution. And that line wasn't just about machines getting smarter. It's about humanity giving up control, letting the systems we created define what evolution even means. We've gone from shaping the world to being shaped by it. So where is this all heading? A society where algorithms make all the big decisions, where we're plugged into screens 24/7, living in curated realities. It's what they warned us about, but we don't even see it because we're too busy marveling at how convenient everything's become. The Matrix didn't just predict the future, it showed us the path we were already on. And the question is, do we keep walking it, or do we finally wake up? I'm gonna go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment purposes.
They're not hiding from us anymore.
What the fuck? Y'all see that?
Walking it, or do we finally wake up? I'm gonna go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment purposes.
They're not hiding from us anymore.
What the fuck? Y'all see that? What is that? This is real life. Ah, chill. No editing. This is real life. What is that? What? Whoa.
I mean, that was pretty clear to see. Those were just drones.
Jimmy Kimmel started crying. You know more about this.
Oh, that was crazy.
Like, I don't know anything. I didn't even know he cried on television.
So, all right.
What's the theory?
So this is just the theory. This is just the theory. But Jimmy Kimmel, he pretty much started crying on Okay, before I start, I just want to say we're Canadian. We don't care about politics.
Yeah, we don't.
We're Canadian, you know?
This. Yeah,
like, we don't really care.
Yeah, we're dealing with our own shit down here.
we're just watching what y'all are up to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Jimmy Kimmel, he pretty much put like a statement out, and he's like upset with Trump being president, right?
Okay, yeah.
And he was crying. He's crying, feel me? And he was like, yo, like, this is gonna be terrible for America, blah, blah, blah. He's shedding tears and shit.
Yeah.
But check this out. I looked at the comments of the video. Everybody in the comments is saying, yo, he's probably crying because he knows he's gonna go to jail now.
Mm-hmm. And why?
Because theory, or not even theory, but what people are saying is they're gonna release like the whole Epstein list and pretty much crack down on everybody that was meant to be in trouble.
Yep.
Because we still haven't got the names of everyone that was there that should be charged with trafficking and, you know, all of those terrible crimes, right?
You can tell when somebody knows that they're about to be exposed. Like,
it's either like he really cared that much about, you know, or like he was actually gonna be in trouble. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
If I was gonna go to jail, I would probably cry too. I would cry too. So,
fuck, thank God,
but who knows though?
I mean, if you know you're about to go to jail, you probably shouldn't waste your time crying. You should probably be wasting your time looking for a country that doesn't extradite.
Can somebody please tell me why I just Googled who won the Mike Tyson fight against Jake Paul, and Google just told me this? And keep in mind, the fight isn't till Friday night. If you think I'm kidding, check this out. Anybody want to explain this to me?
We knew that the devils were 100% real, then we know that heaven's real. If we could see God once, we wouldn't act to our true nature. We would say, well, God is real. I don't want to go to hell. And common sense would override what we would actually do. That's why we don't see God. If we saw him, then we would all be like, he's real, hell's real. I don't want to go to hell forever. I'm not going to kill people. I'm going to behave. That's why we can't see him. It's like seeing the answers to the test while you're taking the test. But this dimension, okay, they live parallel to us. One of my theories is just like they helped Solomon build his temple, is that either A, they had built these temples and these pyramids themselves, or B, the communities that worship these beings gave them the knowledge how to do these things, or even help them construct these things.
So you're saying...
Remember, they were sacrificing people left and right, the Aztecs, pulling hearts out. That was to these demonic beings.
So these demonic beings are what Aleister Crowley drew?
Summoned.
Well,
Aleister Crowley, ask yourself, guys, we don't have hours and hours to go over this stuff. I've spoke about this on many podcasts. I did it with Nino Rodriguez, former heavyweight boxing champion of the world. I did this on Danny Jones, and I'm doing it here with you. ask yourself, if you don't know who this person is, you have no idea the world we live in and the influence people like this have had.
Okay, you want me to
on
read his
society.
bio?
Has the government conducted secret UAP crash retrieval programs? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Were they designed to identify and reverse engineer alien craft? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do any U.S. contractors have the same?
I would prefer to address it in a closed session, ma'am.
Okay. In your book, you mentioned government employees who've been injured by UAPs, placed on leave, and receiving government compensation for their injuries. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How can the government deny we have recovered craft if they're paying people because they've been injured by recovered craft?
Ma'am, that's a great question. That's why I think we're here again, because I've seen the documentation by the U.S. government for several of these individuals who have sustained injuries as a result of a UAP incident.
It's a crazy idea, right? In hypocrisy and a bit logic. And Mr. Elizondo, you state in your testimony that, quote, advanced technologies not by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe, end quote. If these technologies are not made by any government, who's making them? Private companies, or are you implying they are crafted by a non-human intelligence?
Want to move around so quick.
So MK Ultra is not the same as Tootsie.
No.
No.
Tootsie
Can
is
you?
a drug.
Okay.
MK Ultra is psychological operations. Psych tools that teach people how to trick the human mind into believing whatever is being influenced. See, they don't want to talk about it because it's in everything. It's everywhere. You know, shout out to Odell. He, when we first got together, he asked me had I ever seen a movie and that I've never seen before. It's called They Live. Came out in the early 90s? No, 84. Roddy Piper was in it. Keith David, Mr. I've been old and black and angry for a long time. And they, were, co-stars in this film. And Roddy Piper got his hands on these glasses. And when he put the glasses on, it showed what was really there in the world. And everywhere it was commands and prompts: obey, submit, eat, sleep, don't look, pay your taxes. Like everything. So it was exposing the illusion of the world that we live in. And, somebody made these special glasses and there was a certain amount of them and he got his hands on one. And he kept trying to tell people, hey, this is what's really happening. Look in these glasses. He literally got in a fight with Keith David for like 25 minutes, trying to get this guy to put the glasses on so that he could say, he said, man, I got a wife and kids. He said, what does that happen? Look!
Look at them, they're everywhere!
I don't know, maybe they can see Allie, fifth and spring.
I mean, they must have did a whole 5-round WWF style fight. And he finally got the glasses on. He was like, man, it's crazy. So it's
UAP technologies. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Let me be clear. UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe.
So this must be like the soft disclosure before the really big disclosure happens, right? Because that's national news. So everybody's able to get a hold of what he's saying. They're putting it out there. They're not censoring him. So yeah, we had definitely better keep our eyes open because it could happen now.
In 1951, a man named William Albee invented a type of tire that could easily move on any surface. Even if these tires are installed on a truck weighing several thousand kilograms and driven over a person, that person would remain unharmed. This is because, due to the low-pressure tires, the vehicle's entire weight is distributed over a large area, so the person underneath the tire remains unharmed. These low-pressure tires are so remarkable that only a force of 2 kilograms is exerted at each point. They were primarily invented to move on soft and weak surfaces like snow, and they are also known today as Roligan tires. If you're not following Valergy, you're probably never going to see us again. If you are, then congratulations. You're growing every day.
Because it's a universal ledger. Because here's the problem with crypto.
Okay.
This is new to me. Because people want to talk about fairy tales. You know, they believe this fairy tale was a Japanese wizard. It was a Japanese wizard, and he invented Bitcoin to save the world. No, because if they told all of you what cryptocurrency was going to do to all of us in the next 20 years, none of you would be using it right now. None of you would be trading it right now.
Why?
That's the truth. Why? Yeah. Because the reason some of these currencies, like Ethereum and this and that, made money, and people, they're letting everyone make money with it. They got to make you get used to it and like it, okay? Because if you realize that 10 to 20 years from now, you'd be living in a world where you can't even give your mom $5 without them knowing, that they could turn off how you use this money.
Get it?
Yeah.
Okay? When you're living in a social credit system that is global, in my opinion, I believe this is all done in harmony with other nations. BRICS is uniting.
Yeah.
The dollar topples. All fiat currency goes, which is why they're printing on both sides. This is bigger than just the American people, in my humble opinion. If I'm going to talk for real now, I'm going to take all the fucking filters off.
Go ahead.
Take all the filters off, Beck.
I think we're fucked. I'll be honest with you. And it's going to take all of us to wake up. I believe what is coming for not just America, for the entire world, will make communism look like Disney World. In my humble opinion.
When the sun rises in the morning, there's no UV light as soon as it comes up. So that means it has 3 different colors in it. It has blue, red, and green. Here's the interesting thing about sunlight. The amount of blue is always balanced by the exact same amount of red, okay? What does blue light fundamentally do when the sun rises and it goes in your retina? It stimulates you and increases something called reactive oxygen species. That's something that your mitochondria makes in your RPE to get this process going. Now, it creates inflammation. That inflammation changes water flows in your eye and in your brain through a gate called the aquaporin 4 gate. Water flows and it stretches between neurons and glial cells. That's actually what wakes you up in the morning, okay? Now, the blue light activation also turns your pituitary gland on in the morning so that you begin to release the anterior pituitary hormones. And that's what sets the circadian pacemaker, okay? The key thing is blue light unopposed, meaning no red, has no balance. So I want you to think about the Roman god Janus. It's got a good face and a bad face. Light has the perfect balance of good and bad. Around 8:30, 9 o'clock, UV light comes up. How does UV light work? UV light can't get through the atmosphere because of the angle of inclination. It has to have a certain angle in the atmosphere so that ozone doesn't knock it out. You know what UV light does on the surface? It inactivates the hormones that come to the surface. Because what does sunlight, full spectrum sunlight, do? It releases another free radical in your skin called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator, and it brings blood vessels to the surface. Guess where hormones from the pituitary are bound to? They're bound to red blood cells. Okay? What's on red blood cells? Something called DHA. DHA is known in your world as fish oil, but it's got to be in the cell membrane. Why is fish oil important? It's got a ton of electrons in it. How does light interact? By photoelectric effect. Photons hit electrons. That's the key. The UV light turns off the amount of anterior pituitary hormones at the precise time. So if you go and look at a Google map of the circadian biology of hormone release, you'll notice that testosterone peaks at 10 o'clock and then goes away. You know what you won't hear from anybody? They don't know why. And I'm telling you the reason why. It's because at 10 o'clock, almost everywhere from 0 degrees latitude all the way up to 59 degrees, UV light is present. And UVA light, you don't need UVB, which makes D, vitamin D. UVA light is capable of doing this. Here's the key. Sunlight specifically has to be UV, is the key to getting that nitric oxide up to the surface. That's why you think of sunburns when you get pink. That's not true. It's not true at all. The pink is bringing the blood vessels to the surface. Why do you get pink? Because your skin is translucent to light. But what you need to know is in a red blood cell, inside, the two most common proteins are hemoglobin, which I think everybody knows about. It has 4 main spikes, 1 in the UV range and 3 in the red. Then there's another one called porphyrins. And porphyrins absorb all parts of the UV spectrum. So guess what? Porphyrins are what allows UV light to be assimilated.
Breaking news, we just heard that the U.S. nuclear submarine fleet is being shadowed by UAPs, aka UFOs. That's what reportedly former U.S. Navy Admiral Tim Gallaudet will be testifying about on Wednesday at the House of Representatives Oversight Committee.
After upgrades were made to our jet's radar systems, we began detecting unknown objects operating in our airspace. At first, we assumed they were radar errors, but soon we began to correlate the radar tracks with multiple onboard sensors, including infrared systems, eventually through visual ID. During a training mission in Warning Area Whiskey 72, 10 miles off the coast of Virginia Beach, 2 F-18 Super Hornets were split by a UAP. The object, described as a dark gray or a black cube inside of a clear sphere, came within 50 feet of the lead aircraft and was estimated to be 5 to 15 feet in diameter. The mission commander terminated the flight immediately and returned to base.
In previous hearings, we've seen former U.S. Navy and Air Force pilots testifying about UAPs, but what does a former U.S. Navy admiral has to say about the UAP phenomenon? Reports indicate that parts of the former U.S. Navy admiral's testimony would be about underwater UAPs shadowing the U.S. nuclear submarine fleet.
They hook the diver up on the winch and they're lowering him in, and as he's looking down, he sees this big, massive, he goes, it's not a submarine. He's seen submarines before. Once you see a submarine, you can't confuse it with something else. This big object, kind of circular, he says, is coming up from the depths, and he starts screaming through the intercom system to tell him to pull the diver up, and the diver's like a few feet from the water. So they reverse the winch, and the diver's thinking, what the hell's going on? And he's getting pulled up, and all of a sudden, he said the torpedo just got sucked down underwater, and the object just descended back down into the depths, and they never recovered the torpedo.
Jesus.
And this happened in the late 90s.
Also among people who will be testifying on Wednesday, a former NASA administrator, Mr. Michael Gold. So far, NASA has kept a very low key on the UAP debate, but depending on what Mr. Gold will be revealing tomorrow at the testimony, the agency might be forced to release any kind of evidence and document they have on UAP sightings.
You know, if these aliens are actually able to manipulate gravity and their spacecrafts are faster than our aircrafts, what's stopping them from manipulating the pressure from underwater, and going deeper than submarines? Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Smash the subscribe button. Join the iTrack fam. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.